today's meeting, we are going to highlight kind of a year in review of some trainings that we found interesting, exciting, curious. We wanted to have some concrete takeaways for our attendees and our viewers, but also kind of get people thinking forward to 2025 and what they might like to see. So we're going to go around the room essentially and lead off with a couple ideas that we discovered in 2024 and hopefully give you guys some tips and interesting things to discover for yourselves.
Okay. Thank you, Casey.
Lindsay, if you want to go ahead with your ideas first, go for it.
Sure. Okay. Okay, so I haven't been to a whole lot of webinars this year because I'm a doctoral student and oh my gosh, I'm tired of learning. But AI is so hot right now. I don't know if you all know that. And I've been going to webinars periodically that are offered by Alchemy AI. I just put the thing in the chat. So this is a private for-profit company that's targeted at they do like boutique teaching assistants for educators at colleges and universities. I have an academic background. I mostly work with like academic libraries. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I also teach in graduate programs. But they have really nice, very generous webinars that talk about how to use AI for things like instructional design, course design and development. They have webinars on AI for personalized learning, and we'll talk about trends later. I think that's one of them. Webinars on AI literacy or how to use AI for assessment. So anything related to the teaching and learning process, they've offered webinars for it. One of the perks of these webinars is that you're able to ask questions of the presenters who are experts in AI. And I think I only know this company because one of the regular presenters is Brett Christie, who's previously at the Chancellor's Office for the Cal State University System, which is like 20-something campuses. And he was like the tech education guy, and he was just super helpful. What's also nice about their webinars is they do offer certificates of attendance if you want them. And they always send you the recording and the slide deck, as well as any resources presented in the presentation. So they're really, really generous in what they offer. And I'm always so grateful when they send all the stuff because you can't make it, or they send all the stuff so they have that for later. So that's been a gem in my year this year. I've gotten some good nuggets of AI wisdom out of that because that's like the only way you can learn AI these days is seeing what other people are doing. And I saw your comment, Veronica. Lily, master's student here. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of learning. So not a lot of professional development otherwise in my life. But yeah, that's it for me. A plug for Alchemy. They're great. They offer a webinar about once a month or so, and they are super generous in what they offer.
Lindsay, we had a comment in the chat. I wonder as the committee goes around, would you be willing to just introduce yourself and remind everybody which institution you're at, and then what our background is a little bit when it comes to training?
Oh, good
Thank
catch.
you, Veronica. That was a great question.
Yeah, hi, I'm Lindsay O'Neill. I'm president of Learning Roundtable, and I'm a instructional designer and consultant. I have my own business, Lindsay O'Neill Consulting, and I mostly work with academic libraries. I'm developing a graduate certificate program right now for an academic library. I'm on a grant for a museum to develop a human-centered HR repository plus learning for them, and I have a background as an academic librarian in instructional design, and I also teach in a instructional design graduate program. I've done a lot of that as well. I've got a lot of things going on, and it's super fun because I don't want to be bored, and I got lots of things. What else? I think I was going to say something else, and I think I forgot. So I think that's it for me. So I'll pass it on to, actually, I think Diana is next on the list. Diana, you want to take it up?
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. This is like my first ALA committee that I'm serving on, so I'm really excited to share with you and to learn and to learn from everyone. So again, my name is Diana Rush. I spent about 10 years in public libraries. For the past 6 years, I work at one of the 3 library systems in Illinois, the Reaching Across Illinois Library System, known as RAILS. We support 1,200 academic, school, public, and special libraries in North and Northwest Illinois. I am also a part-time reference and instruction librarian at a community college. So really excited to be here. I am going to touch upon two events or two training resources. And the first one is a professional development alliance. Now, this is not open to everyone, but I just wanted to point it out that it is a group of 16 library consortia across the country dedicated to sharing free online professional development opportunities with each other's members. But it's also a great place to mine for ideas and speakers if you are not if you're not a member of one of those consortia. So they have a plethora of high quality presenters and content. So we're taking a look at that. They have their members are everything from the Consortium of Academic and Research Libraries in Illinois to Florida Virtual Campus to the Boston Library Consortium. So they are across the US. Again, this is a limited membership, but it's also just a great place to mine for ideas. And I will put links to everything that I'm talking about once I'm done in that collaborative document, so I don't keep stopping and pasting. And then next, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows about WebJunction, but I have not been there in a while. And once I started on this committee, I started to, look at things again. I'm like, oh, I haven't been in WebJunction in a while. I know that OCLC took it over. They're really doing good things, and it's free. So which is music to a library's ears. So I mean, online learning is one of I think the silver linings of COVID, and there wasn't many, but it's really shown the ability for people to work and learn virtually and collaborate virtually. It's convenient. It's cheaper sometimes. So while certain online learning programs such as Niche Academy, Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, many libraries have them, but they're also very cost prohibitive. So definitely please take a look at WebJunction, which was started in 2003, but it's now a program of OCLC research. It's free and open for all libraries to use regardless of your size, type, or location. They use Moodle, which is an open source learning management system. So they have passive learning such as webinars, and then they have self-guided learning courses where you can just go and make a free account and do this on your own time. They also are supported by grants, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, state library agencies that help keep their course catalog free and accessible to all library workers. And they also provide services to organizations to support and enhance their own training initiatives. So this is much bigger than it used to be, and it's nice to see it grow and still be free to everyone. So they have everything from teaching technology to patrons to cataloging to readers advisory, and they do update things, and they do so like one of the newest things is from Burnout to Balance course, and it applies to staff at all levels, but managers will also learn special skills to promote teamwork, communication, and mutual support in the workplace. So just wanted to remind everybody, don't forget about WebJunction. They also have a calendar, which I will put a link into, and they have also free training by month that is not by WebJunction, so which is put together by the Maine State Library Continuing Education Department. And if you don't think you'll remember to check that link periodically, you can also sign up for the Maine State Library CE email and just get a list of free trainings sent to you every month, which is really nice. I think that is all I have. And so if you have any questions, please let me know. If not, on to the next person.
Crystal, Do you want to share with us what you've got lined up as far as
Yeah.
highlights?
Yeah, thank you, Casey. Hi, everyone. My name is Crystal Vella. I am the training and development consultant at Swan Library Services in Illinois. I am a new member here and I'm super excited. Primarily, what I do with my job is create online content to support libraries. With the software that the ILS, the software that we provide. So a lot of the trainings that I do normally are behind paywalls and very specific to the software that I use. So I kind of went out on a little search to see if there was something out there that I thought would be transferable to everybody. And I noticed it. We at Swan hold an annual expo, and a theme that was consistently brought up and requested by our members was the idea of this like work-life balance, mental health services, and trying to prevent burnout and how to help support staff. So I went to Web Junction, like Diana just mentioned, and I did take that course that was called From Burnout to Balance. I will highly recommend that course. It is super informative. It even has kind of these like quizzes that you can take and kind of so you can monitor your burnout, gives you helpful tips. It's really informative. It gives a good overview of certain things you can do to try to help lower your stress levels and things like that. Diana gave a really good overview of Web Junction, so I won't repeat anything, but I would say don't sleep on that. It's a valuable resource. It's free, and you kind of can't beat those things. So that's I'll keep mine short and sweet. So there you go. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Crystal. Ginny.
All right. Hi, I'm Jenny Van Orsdell. I am a public library branch manager in Georgia. So I don't have quite the academic background that other people have here. But I'm also a big fan of webinars, I guess you could say. So while Web Junction is absolutely one of my favorite platforms, I also like Niche Academy. It's just like another platform host of various webinars, and library systems or even state libraries can actually use it to create their own little academies. So, for example, my library system has an academy that is open to both staff and public. So it gives a little bit of training for various different resources that we provide. The state level provides trainings on like our ILS system, um, other customer service type things, things of that nature. And last year, I took a webinar from it that has turned out to be one of my most favorite webinars of all time. And that one specifically is Beyond Books, Adult Library Programs that Work. Because if you do adult programming, it's not the easiest thing in the world to always get participation from. And this webinar was hosted by Jen Carson, who also has a couple of books out about different programming and things of that nature. And what is nice about Niche Academy as well is not only are most of the trainings archived, so you can go back and watch it at any time, but they provide slides, transcripts for both audio and the chat log. And for this webinar in particular, the transcript, chat log was just a wealth of ideas from other librarians across the country, programs that have worked, things things that didn't quite work, idea sharing and all of that. So it's very valuable. Um, what else about it? Yeah, that's about it for it. Also, I'm going to plug Lindsay, because I have also, while I'm working on my MLIS, I've kind of tossed around the idea of going into instruction teaching per se, yeah. And I came across Lindsay's teaching or instructional based webinars by chance, and I took one and I'm like, oh, I can totally do this. So, yeah, if you're thinking about teaching or even wanting to kind of buff up your program leading, I highly recommend Lindsay's programs or her webinars as well. So, those are mine.
Thank you, Jenny. Much
Thank you,
appreciated.
Jenny.
I am somebody who, when I get to my stuff, I definitely push the instructional design stuff. I think it's important for our professions to have a working knowledge of it. So, and next I've got Erin.
Okay, good morning or afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Erin Magner. I am the Associate Director of Public Services for the Daniel Boone Regional Library here in Columbia, Missouri. So I'm smack dab in the middle of the country. And I thought if you guys would be willing to just kind of maybe in the chat put your name and like either what system or what type of system you're from, we would love to know what types of libraries we have. If we've got a lot of academic, public, special school, we'd love to hear from you and just kind of see who's joining us today. Um, so because I work in public services and I have for going on 13 years now in public libraries, my recommendations are geared a lot towards either dealing with difficult patrons, dealing with challenging situations, and also beefing up your soft skills so that you can better manage those challenges. Kind of in line similar to what Crystal was talking about too with burnout, things like that. So I'll dive into my first recommendation, which is, of course, homeless training with Ryan Dowd. And we're going to hear a little bit more from Casey on this too, so I don't want to steal too much of her thunder. But if you're not familiar with this, he's huge in public libraries. And regardless of what kind of library you're in, you're going to come up, against challenging patrons and challenging situations. So just to give you a brief overview, you can sign up for their introductory course for free, and I will plop links to all of this into our notes here also as soon as I'm done. And it's how to de-escalate problematic behavior. There is a core group of like training, and so just I want to quickly run down what those 5 core trainings are that make up his homeless training with Ryan Dowd. Trauma and the 5 most important seconds of conflict, nonverbal tools to eliminate conflict, preventing conflict, managing your own emotions during conflict, and lastly, verbal tools for conflict. Managing your own emotions during conflict is currently free right now on their website. They will periodically post these for free for like an entire week, and you can just get in and view it as many times as you can. So definitely when you go to their website, check out the free trainings and come back because they cycle through the core trainings regularly. I just did the managing your own emotions during conflict, and it's you always walk away with something helpful. There's a nice little PDF notebook that's kind of interactive, and it really, I encourage you to print that out and fill it out before you sign into the webinar because it really helps me personally stay engaged and remember my notes. So Ryan Dowd, homeless training with Ryan Dowd, and there's a variety of offerings on that. Secondly, I want to recommend LinkedIn Learning. This is another one that is behind a paywall, but a lot of libraries, you can either access it using your public library card or check with your own institution or school. Oftentimes your organization will already have some kind of LinkedIn Learning account for you to access. So definitely check that out. If all else fails, there is a 1-month free trial if you go out for an independent user. So definitely check it out because I love how interactive these are. They're not just the hour-long webinars, they're the pick up and goes. kind of like I think Diana was talking about earlier. So you can log in, listen to it for 20, 30 minutes, and then finish 1 or 2 modules, take a break and come back. I also love them because there's interactive like quizzes and questions. So again, it's the engagement piece. I get bored watching webinars, or I fade out, I get distracted by my email. So anything that can kind of like help keep me engaged is going to be a big win for me. And just briefly, some really cool topics that I've either taken myself or are on my to-do list. Active listening, the secret to effective communication, top 10 rules for highly effective leadership, demystifying chat GPT and AI, advancing your skills in graphic design. So there's a wide variety of technology, soft skill, and creative skills as well. So yes, and then lastly, somebody mentioned the state library, and I just want to echo that recommendation. If you're not already on your state library's website, or are not contacted with your state librarian, holler at them. They're the friendliest, nicest people in the world, and they want you to use their resources. So there's always lots of great resources through the state library too. And that's it from me. Thank you so much. So I'll popcorn it over to Casey.
Thank you, Erin. I definitely appreciate your highlights as well as everybody else's. One of the things to keep in mind, first of all, I work in public libraries as well, and I work in administration, putting together staff trainings and staff development and things like that. But my background is serving the public, so that's definitely my, point of view in a lot of ways. Using things like LinkedIn Learning is what our customers are using, or what people out in the world are using. So to kind of have that point of view is good. Using what is popular is a good thing, because then you become fluent in it. Also, when libraries do offer a service, we don't have the paywall, but we have the library card wall. So navigating that, how to sign in and get your free account, is a lesson in and of itself, to be able to rattle that off very quickly for people. So I think those are very just important experiences to have, even not even getting to the catalog of what they offer. But synthesizing or pulling together things like what Web Junction offers, Niche Academy, these state library, all those things to answer certain learning questions like, what do I need to know about AI? What do I need to know about burnout? Like those things, those are all avenues that you can check and see if there's not a good short list that you can give people if somebody has not developed one already. I do also want to second that we have found Ryan Dowd's trainings to be very helpful. There's just something about his perspective that is both practical and it's not based in fear. And I think that's really speaks to librarianship in a lot of ways. There's been other, I think, points of view that have been a little bit more, you know, uh, he starts from a place of empathy, and I think that that's something that really speaks to people in librarianship. So I definitely wanted to second that. And those micro chainings, somebody had mentioned that if you get onto the mailing list, you get freebies that way. If you want to kind of see if it's a match for you or your staff or anybody that you think might need to learn about that. I know we've gotten a lot of questions from staff about de-escalation skills, and his empathetic approach and the brain science that he points to when he describes what to do. I feel like leave staff with actionable, memorable instruction. And I think that's been something that people have been asking for over and over and over. So I do think he's worth the hype. I think in library circles, there's a lot of hype around him. But and sometimes that can make people a little incredulous, but I do think he's worth it. In addition to that, the trainings or staff development opportunities that I've experienced this year, we have something local to me in Georgia, the Decatur Book Festival, and that librarian, Amanda Jones, came and did a book talk, if everybody's familiar with her story. And she is somebody who stood up against censorships at the local level and received a very strong backlash, to describe it mildly, from not only her town, but the outside world. So she was the epicenter of an increasingly dangerous campaign that was fueled also by non-community enactors. So people, like, when you are viral, you are open to everybody, and it might be genuine, it might be spurious, people complaining or saying what they're going to say. Um, and her talk essentially is a case study for awareness of the highly public nature of our profession, and also the rapid reactions of the social media public, and just the reality of it. That can be very daunting, and it can be very demoralizing. Um, I think in some ways it's a counterbalance to what I feel like sometimes is out there, of a little bit of glamorizing fighting censorship. I hate to put it that way, but um, it can feel like, um, that her account is just so gritty about what she experienced, that that awareness piece, I think, is just really important to pay attention to as well, and to kind of think about where your community is, where your organization is, where your your um interpretation of and the situational awareness is around you. You can't control everything, and that's, something to balance. And then, as I was thinking about seeing her talk, I attended my own state library's conference, and there was a presentation about almost nearly an identical situation, where somebody had posted a very short freedom to read celebration on the internet, and somebody took it and ran with it, and it went viral. And this person actually switched from being public service to back of house. Like, they took themselves off the public floor altogether. And I think those real consequences, um, it's just should be factored in. And to hear these stories and to reflect on them is part of the awareness of what's going on in the profession, not necessarily a reason not to act or not to do something or to be fearful. But they are case studies. They are worth examining and studying and thinking about. If you are running an organization, if you work with people who make decisions, how do we approach this with our staff? What are our limits? What are our supports? And I think that that's uh, what I got out of those experiences. So that those are a little bit more broad than a tutorial or a online course, but hopefully those are of interest as well. But yeah, her name is Amanda Jones, and she's referred to as That Librarian, and that's the name of her book. Um, and I don't have the name of the person who spoke in Georgia. And honestly, I felt like when she spoke, she preferred to keep it that way. She's been overexposed enough and does not have a book. But it was just the macro and the local, like the fact that this person who made national news, and here it happened more locally, and somebody could speak about almost the same experience. So, um, yeah, I think that's pretty much some really big takeaways I had this year as far as staff development and training. But we do want to hear from you, and I'm going to turn this over to Diana to facilitate some audience participation.
Hi, I'm back. So please, feel free to raise your hand if you would like to speak and or be on camera. You can just be on, you can just talk without being on camera. I know everybody's got different, views on that. So, no pressure to show your face if you don't want to. Also, either in the chat or if you want to be anonymous, we do have, you should have a Q&A option. I don't know that I'm seeing it right here. Sorry, I'm usually on the other end of Zoom when I host and facilitate webinars, but please feel free to put in any ideas, any thoughts, like as we're going through this, I'm coming up with all these questions that I have for you. There's no Q&A for meeting instead of a webinar. Gotcha. Thank you for reminding me of that, Danielle. So if you want to talk, raise your hand and I'll get to you. If not, put any ideas you have. Like what do you want to learn? What are your, what have you, what was a highlight of your year? Did you have time to do any professional development this year? So I'm kind of looking at this as, let us know what you need because this is what we're here for. And I believe that, Veronica, give me 1 second. Let me unmute you. Well, I won't. Oh, you know what?
I can do it.
Thank you. Appreciate
You're
it.
good. Hi, I'm Veronica. Erin and I work together. She invited me. So some highlights of our year. I used AI and ChatGTP and Google Apps Script to automate our training calendar and automate how it sends to our staff. So that took me. I think it took me about 3 days usually to go through all of the different training calendars online that I look at. And then put those events on a training calendar for staff and then make an email to send out. So I actually now have it fully automated. So I don't do anything. It sends once a week and once a month. So that was really cool. Happy to share that with anyone who wants it. I'm happy to do it. It still has some kinks, like you can only put in the code so much on keywords to look for in-person meetings. So every now and then something slips through the cracks. But otherwise, it's pretty good. I look at a lot of different public calendars for that. And then, oh gosh, I feel like we've done a lot of really good work on like our social worker and our safety and security manager both put out some really great training this year. And we're working on moving that into Niche Academy. I know someone mentioned that here. We're working on how to best like record live trainings and make modules. So I'm still learning a lot of that in within Niche. I'm used to a different LMS for that. Um, Let's see. I also started a group, and I don't know how this fits in with this one, but I started a group that's got a couple of states. I think we have 5 or 6 states now of training and development folks and libraries who just want to get together and chat. We haven't met yet. We are waiting for the holidays to be over, but we've got that going. So I can also add people to that or like somehow incorporate it. I'm not sure what would be best. But we did do a survey of what people were looking for, and the main thing that across everyone that everybody wanted help with was figuring out how best to train people on what they need to know when we have people at all different employment types. So we have people who work, like maybe 10 hours a week, maybe 8 hours a week. We have some people who work 20, some people who work 30, and some people who are full time. So just making sure that the training everyone needs to know gets to them, and then trainings that might be a little more specialized or hey, maybe we
Yes.
can't do it.
I'll catch you in a
So,
few minutes.
so then really just that seemed to be the biggest concern amongst those folks in this group was just how do you prioritize getting training to as many people as possible in a way that they can do it, especially when we're all open 7 days a week and our hours are not consistent. It's not like, hey, everyone's here on Monday at 2. We can give this to everybody. So those are, I think, the big things for me, the highlights, and then what we're hoping to solve for next year.
Thank you, Veronica. And if you want to put any of those links in the collaborative Google Doc, please feel free to do so.
Yeah.
And we have Anne next. Is Anne next? Does that sound right?
Hi, I'm Ann McIntyre. I'm new to your group. So yeah, I will share no one has, I don't think, unless I missed it while I was multitasking a little bit, I confess, about Library Journal. I know that they are behind a paywall often, but I have found that in the case of my institution, there were a lot of things falling off our institutional training needs for years that Library Journal had started offering paid versions of that were actually very good quality, like in terms of management training, especially for middle, and new to people new to management, and customer service. So those I thought were worth the money that I ended up paying for them out of pocket because we don't have much of a training budget in our institution either. And I did just sign up yesterday for one of their rare free offerings, which is a strategic planning webinar that's coming up next week specific to libraries. So I'm excited to take part in that because we're getting ready to start doing strategic planning again on our 5-year cycle. One thing I'd love to get from this group is we're very fortunate in Maryland. There is a very robust training program called Library Associate Training Institute for staff coming into libraries information service who don't have an MLS. But the caveat with that is you have to often wait, it can be up to 6 months or more before you participate in it. And we kind of fell down as an institution in developing and doing our own in-house reference training by relying so heavily on that. So I am looking for recommendations, again, hopefully for free, because again, we just really don't sadly have a budget right now for this, but for good things people have done with their teams for onboarding non-MLS folks to provide reference service, because that is an expectation for these folks, is that they come in and are put out on the desk sometimes on day one doing reference service, hopefully with some coaching, but we're realizing we are going to have to develop in-house training ourselves, but being able to lean on things that are for free. I think librarians are always a big believer in doing that wherever we can. So, and thanks for what you guys are doing. I look forward to participating more.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. Would anyone else like to speak or offer any suggestions or ideas?
I will say when we get new employees, many of them do not have a library background, and we have some information for readers advisory, reference interview, basics. It's not terribly lengthy, but just some basic habits, some quick scenario practice. And then for readers advisory, we have not only novelists, but a couple tools that we invite them to research real quick, and they research each of the tools and try it out and then get to resource share amongst each other. So I'm not sure what your new hire structure is like, if you have cohorts or anything like that. I highly recommend cohorts for that kind of a thing where they can pretend to be customers. It's definitely difficult to get people to practice it even amongst their established group already, because they seem like they already know what they're doing, but that would be my recommendation.
Thanks. Yeah, cohorts would be nice. Usually folks are coming in one-on-one, and then when there's any kind of a cohort thing we can do, it's after months of people having already been asked to provide reference service.
I'm trying playing doing multitasking here. I appreciate everyone's interest. And I heard the word cohort, and I really we had been in our little 3-person department at Rails have been trying to think of ways that we could provide more active training. I mean, like, webinars are great, but we would just like to do a little bit more on that would just be more active learning. And we did have a cohort and for EDI, and I think maybe it was just because of the subject matter, but it turned out to be, we had 40 people, but because we are a state-funded agency, therefore FOIA-able, we were not able to do any interactive or like grading of essay questions and thoughts and things like that. We just had to keep it within the recording. So I love the idea of cohorts. It's just the fact that can everyone dedicate the time to it. So anyway, I have two people with their hands up. I have Dorothy and Jennifer. I'm just gonna pick Jennifer first. So go right ahead, and Dorothy, you'll be next.
Alrighty, thank you. And I have written this for myself, so I stay on track, and I'll add it over to our collaborative notes here in a minute. So my name is Jennifer Dean, and I'm the director at it's a regional public institution. So we're a smaller campus of a large research institution. And so we're small, and as director, my job is to, allocate resources and say, hey, everybody, this is something we prioritize, basically to, make it okay, that this is something that we as a group want to do collectively and learn together. And I think the issue I have, and I'll just say, maybe as I'm writing this, I'm like, maybe this is something I need to hire a consultant for, and it may be different from this group, but how do you set up a training program in total? I think, we've got resources. We've got a committee that looks at collection development requests. We've had a lot of talk about it. We have access to LinkedIn Learning. We have amazing resources just at our university. And then you all shared some really great things today. Because we have money, we can go out and do other things. So I think it's not that people don't know. What's missing is sort of that plan. How do you tie this into everything you do? Where does it tie into evaluations and that sort of thing? And so I feel like if people have advice for how do you do this, that's sort of the thing that's always on my mind is how do we've got all the elements, but maybe it's just kind of ad hoc and it's not a plan yet that people can actually use and feel like they don't understand that, oh, this means me, and this is how this works, and this is why it's worth my time, and here's where I need to ask for money. So that's what's on my mind, and I'll kind of type that up in a more succinct fashion in the notes. So thank you.
Jennifer, I just want to say that is a great point, and I think there's lots of people on this call that would have ideas and suggestions if you want to put your email, and then people can reach out, because I know I'm looking at Veronica. I know she's already, but she's got a lot of this stuff. She just worked on a lot of this stuff over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'll put my email in the notes. I'll go type them over there, or I copied them. Hey, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. Dorothy, you're up.
Hi, I'm Dorothy Stoltz, and I retired as a community engagement director with Carroll County Public Library in Maryland. And I've been doing a variety of projects since in the last couple of years. But I wanted to mention that we had an online onboarding software that we created, or platform rather, we created. So it wasn't easy getting that up and running, but we did. And then we meet, maybe quarterly with each cohort for a luncheon afternoon. And that was pretty helpful. And tying into the library associate training in Maryland, because there was that delay often of 6 months or more before people would be able to go through that program. So that did help, but it was work getting it up and running. The other thing I wanted to quickly mention is Library Juice Academy, and I'll put that link into the document. A lot of courses, but it is a pay, you have to pay for those courses, but it is a way to have a cohort where you're really working with several other people and learning together.
Nice, thank you for those thoughts. Next up, we have Denise.
Hello. I work in a public library in Westchester County in New York, and I'm head of head of adult services right now. And I just wanted to let you know about I since I started working here, then I trained every librarian that came in after me. So I kind of, you know, had my way of doing it. But then, you know, you always have to think about, well, what if one day you're not doing it? Then somebody else has to do it. So we had just hired this, you know, young techie guy. And I said, you know what? How about if you type everything that we're doing? And so he starts to type it up and it became a manual. And then we have another person who's extremely techie and puts everything online. And so she made it the reference manual using his information, but also expanding on it. So it's a living, working Google Doc for all of us. And in there has a lot of information that maybe a part-timer wouldn't normally know, and they can just click on it and find it there. So, and also I second Ryan Dowd. In fact, just this morning we were talking about having a conversation with one of their reps to decide if we're going to, you know, purchase the, you know, become a member for the whole library so we can use his trainings during our staff development time. And that's all I can remember right now. Thank you all for doing this and all your information.
All right, thank you, Denise. So just to give you, I'm on Central Standard Time, so I'm at 11:54, so we have about 5.5 minutes. Just wanted to do a bit of a time check.
Diana, I think we might have to combine maybe our summation here. We really wanted to look forward to 2025 a little bit. So you know, we have the group notes. Maybe people can kind of put their thoughts in the group notes about what they would like to see in 2025. And while you guys are doing that in the room, if anybody who kind of led the panel today had any thoughts about what you guys wanted to see, maybe give people some inspo. um, you know, for me, it's definitely looking at boosting circulation. I think I'm interested in ways to develop staff to be better at hand selling in reach to our customers who walk through the door. Those are some trainings that I'm interested in.
I'll just say that I just keep on going with AI. I'm also focusing on AI for my dissertation, and it's just, there's just so much. And the only way I found you can really learn AI is by hearing about what other people are doing, because there's no manual for this stuff. So I'll definitely be doing more AI in 2025. I think we all will. And it will be providing a lot more opportunities for personalized learning, which I'm really excited about.
Yes, absolutely. I guess I just like my overall like umbrella goal is that I try to help librarians become more confident at their job and to be really confident and happy in what they do. And so whatever I can provide via training and resources is what I'm interested in. But again, I know AI is really at the top of everyone's list. I think it's like the internet of 2024. And I don't want it to be like the internet, like where I would have a patron when I was in public libraries and say, well, I don't get on the internet. And it was 2021. I don't want this to be, I don't want people to be afraid of it. It's like, well, you don't all have to be experts, but I want you to feel just comfortable with knowing what you can do with it, whether it's for your own productivity or if patrons have questions about it. So that's what I see. And then I also see some of those soft skills is like, how do we diffuse situations? There's, you know, a lot going on in, you know, the library climate. So I want people to be safe and supportive of each other. So that's what I'm one of the top two things that I'm looking at.
And in the last couple of minutes, I just wondered, could you guys give us a thumbs up if you got one resource or new idea from this discussion? Because I know that there was some things out there that, yeah, I just want to like visually like check, did everybody get at least one thing or one contact or something like that that made this beneficial? Good. Okay, cool. Thank you. That's helpful for us to know if we're on the right track. And yeah, great. Thank you. Thanks y'all so much for being here and participating. This is such a great group. Yeah,
Yes.
you guys are awesome. I see just tons of connections in the chat. So I just want to mention, if you want to put your contact info in the group notes too, and you know, ask people what it is you need and they can reach out to you, that would be great too. Thank you.
And I think Lindsay's going to close us out, just kind of talking a little bit more about this roundtable and maybe what's coming up on the horizon for us.
Yeah, let me do my thing real fast. Okay. Let me go to the right screen here. Okay, so should be seeing my Go Chrome again. This is who we are. We're Learning Roundtable. We are the online learning committee that put this on. I'm Lindsay. I'm the president of Learning Roundtable, as well as the chair of Online Learning Committee. Anyways, we're all about all professional development, staff development for everyone that works in libraries. And our goal is to foster opportunities to learn from each other. So again, we're at 365 members and growing. We are $20 a year to join. You don't have to join us to attend our events. We'll be doing regular training exploration. We're going to be launching a webinar series in spring, and we'll be offering a training showcase. That's something we've been doing for a lot of years, so I encourage you to join us. And we are working on a member directory as well as training recommendations. Apologies for the typo. I am just seeing that. I did post a link to our ALA Connect community in the chat. Please join us there. You're automatically added if you're a member. If you go to that place and you see that you're not part of it, you can join manually. And we will be posting all of our many cool events there. So I hope to see you at future events. And thank you so much. We're right at time. Thank you for joining us today. We will be posting the recording of this event as well as our notes to ALA Connect. So check in there to get more information. If you want to stay in chat, you are welcome to. I've actually got to run to another meeting, but it's so wonderful seeing all of you here today. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks everybody for coming. Good to see you.